Good morning and welcome to the podcast. My guest this morning is Kevin Kimmel. He's superintendent. I always got to read this title off. Mid-Ohio Educational Service Center. Is it service or services? I think it's service.
It's just service.
Service.
Yeah.
Singular.
Although we provide multiple services,
It
is the service center.
And speaking of that, for those that don't know what the Mid-Ohio Educational Service Center is all about, can you give us maybe kind of a thumbnail sketch of what the services that you provide through that?
Perfect. Yeah. So we support schools in 3 counties, Richland, Crawford, Morrow counties, and those school districts contract with our center to provide services primarily related to student services. So occupational therapists, physical therapists, speech and language pathologists, vision services, behavioral services, special ed services, special ed coordination services, a number of different programs and services that support the education that's taking place in the school district. We also are engaged with gifted consulting, so that would help the districts best serve those students that are on the gifted side of things.
Right.
But also, like I said, majority of our services are related to students on individual educational plans, IEPs. And then we do a lot of programming and support for and networking for administrators, building principals, special ed coordinators, student services, curriculum directors, and that type of support is network meetings, training, professional development. So that is the primary work that we do out in the school districts.
Right.
But then we also host a number of events at Mid-Ohio for students.
All right. The reason I say that is because it's like anything else. People might not quite understand what all you're doing,
Yep.
and this may be the first time somebody's seen the podcast.
Yeah.
And I like to get these out because many of these services which are being provided, some of these are mandated. The schools have to have these, and they need somebody there, but they may not need them, quote, full time. So they're shared services. So there's a lot of coordination I'm sure you need to do between where you're at and the districts, individual districts, which you have 13 that you're working with, aren't you?
Yeah, 13 client districts, but
Okay.
we work up to 25, 30 different school districts.
Okay.
So it's just not just traditional public school districts, but parochial schools, community schools, and we do a lot of work outside our client districts. So we have contracts. We get into Ashland County, we get into Knox County. We spread out beyond just our traditional 3-county service area.
Well, see, now we know what you're about. All right, so for
Well,
those of
yeah.
us that may out there that
Yes.
have not, maybe this, like I said, the first time they've heard this. Anyhow, I know you've got a lot of things coming up. Let's start off with something. I know you've had some training, and that's kind of ongoing that you do for teachers and various
Right.
things. I'll just let you kind of start off with something, and we'll go.
Well, I tell you, I'll start out by giving kudos to our Board of Governors. So we have a 7-member elected board at Mid-Ohio
Right.
that represents the 3 counties. So back when Mid-Ohio 20 plus years ago formed, the 3 different counties came together to join Mid-Ohio, it was determined at that time that there would be board representation from the 3 counties. So Crawford County has 1 representative on our board, Morrow County has 1 board member, and the other 5 are from Richland County. And our board is very dedicated to supporting the districts in our region. This is Ohio School Board's Appreciation Month, so we're highlighting their service this month. Our board meeting is coming up soon. They'll receive a recognition from OSBA, and then also a nice Mid-Ohio pullover and a small token of appreciation of their service. We did have a board turnover. Erin Stein from Richland County, Shelby, had to shift because of her new job. She used to work here at the Crawford Partnership. She's been working over in healthcare in Richland County now, and so because of her job shift, she had to step down from the board, and we're very fortunate to have Linda Shoemaker, who is the retired Pioneer Treasurer, joined our board in December. So she is now officially retired from Pioneer, and she has assumed the role of being a board member at Mid-Ohio now. So we welcome her.
She'd be a good addition to your board.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. Because she had dealt with all of the school districts that go to Pioneer, and these are primarily the same districts that belong to Mid-Ohio. So she knows the treasurers, she knows the administration, and Mid-Ohio shares board members with Pioneer. So Pioneer has a board representation and out of that board, Mid-Ohio appoints 6 of their board seats. So there's a lot of collaboration between Pioneer Career and Technology Center and Mid-Ohio ESC.
Now, I'm gonna switch gears on you. I know aren't we getting now kind of into the time of year with academic challenge and the spelling bees, correct?
Yeah, so we host a lot of student events at Mid-Ohio for our districts. We're right in the middle of the county spelling bees now. So Crawford, Richland, and Morrow County have their individual spelling county bees, and then the representatives from that come together later in the month and compete in what's called the Tri-County Spelling Bee. And so that's always a nice event that is very well attended, and it's good to see those kids out competing outside of the traditional athletic fields. And so,
Yes.
So Spelling Bees is one piece of that. We also host numerous academic challenges where teams come together, quiz teams from the school districts to come and compete against each other. They do some local competitions in the district, but then they come together for the tournaments at Mid-Ohio. And so we host different days. Our high school league, it got so big that we've had to go 2 different nights instead of one night, which is a good thing to have.
That's a great thing.
Yeah. So on top of that, then we also will be celebrating the arts later in March. It's called Artapalooza, where it's a week-long celebration of not just visual arts, but performing arts as well. So we fill up the conference center with student artwork for the week. It's amazing to see each of the districts that come and set up a display and the number of people that come through, and it's open for the whole week during the day and the evenings. During the evenings, we have student performances where there's students come and set up. It may be a soloist, maybe somebody playing guitar. It could just, we open it up to school districts to be able to come and perform at the Artapalooza. There's a night where we hand out awards. And so, like I said, we take great pride in helping students be recognized beyond what is typically the recognition, and that's sports.
Yes.
So
yes.
it's the academics, it's the arts that we really try to promote and support and give a platform for those students to be acknowledged.
What I like about this too, it's always positive.
Yeah.
I like positive things, and our schools have a lot of positive things going on. Sometimes it's just gets drowned out by other things, but we've got plenty of positive things going on.
Right, and we got a great big fabulous facility that we
Yes,
open up
you do.
for our client districts. And client districts do not have to pay for any use of that facility. We have a number of schools that schedule their proms over there. Last spring we hosted 5 proms, and that's a savings to districts. If they were to rent a facility, about $2,500 per prom.
Oh,
They
yeah.
don't pay anything. So that's part of the privilege they have of being a client district in Ohio.
Well, all very good, positive things, and anything else maybe you want to add this morning in our time here?
Well, one of the services that we provide our client districts is help school boards find their next executive. And that
Yes,
could be either
yes.
superintendent or treasurer. There's
Yes.
2 people that boards of education hire, and it's the district superintendent and district treasurer. And so we provide that service to our client districts at no charge. There is search firms out there across the state that charge anywhere from $10,000 to $20,000 per search. And so we do it free of charge to our districts. Last year alone, we did 11 searches between superintendent treasurers, so we kept pretty busy. Fortunately, this year we've only got 1 in the pipeline. We'll be assisting Clear Fork Valley local schools with their superintendent search, and so we anticipate that board making some final decisions at their February board meeting, and then Mid-Ohio announcing the opening of the superintendent, and then interested candidates can apply through us. We'll assist the board in the interviewing and the selection process of their next superintendent.
Yeah, these things kind of come and go, don't they? They all kind of come up at once. Of course, I think people
Yeah.
retire, so I understand kind of, you'll get peaks and valleys in that.
Yeah, we just completed a treasurer search at Mid-Ohio. So we hired Brenda Miller, who started January 2nd. And the nice thing about Mid-Ohio, our current treasurer, Lorraine Ernst, who's been with us for over 20 years, is going to be retiring, but not until the end of this calendar year. So the Board of Governors, we took a plan to them of a transition of
Sure.
an overlap, so there could be training for and support for the new treasurer. And so fortunately, we have almost a year-long venture where Brenda, our new treasurer, and Lorraine, our current treasurer, retiring treasurer, get to work together. And so we welcomed Brenda. She came to us from the Cardington Lincoln School District where she was treasurer there. We had a very good pool of candidates, strong pool of candidates to pick from. We had 18 applicants. The board narrowed it down to really 2 going into the final interviews and selected Brenda to be the next treasurer at Mid-Ohio. So we were fortunate to be able to do that search. We also had done Pioneers treasurer search, as I had mentioned that Linda
Right.
was retiring. So it gives us an opportunity. It's a lot of behind the scenes work that we do,
Yes.
whether it's supporting schools with their services or helping boards find their next superintendent or treasurer. But it's important work, and it's work that we're able to be there as a resource, a local resource that can support boards of education and
Right.
districts that they don't have to go out and get somebody from Columbus or Cleveland to come in and pay them an enormous amount of money to provide a service that we can do it locally.
Well, a lot of this is like a pipeline.
Yeah.
If you know your treasurer or whomever is going to retire, it's nice if you get a little lead time. That way you can make the
Right.
transition smoother.
Right.
And that's what it's about. That's the worst thing you can have is things not being a smooth transition.
Yeah.
So you're very fortunate that worked the way it was.
Yep, and like Clear Fork, we'll be diving and working with them. We don't anticipate the replacement starting until August 1st.
Okay.
But we're January, and
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
time to get going.
Yeah.
So it's, because it does take time. You know,
Yes.
we post and advertise for 4 to 6 weeks. The interview process is lengthy. There's paper screening, first round interviews, reference checks, final interviews, meetings with not just the boards, but the staff, the community, the students. Then ultimately, the board is tasked with the responsibility of picking the best leader to moving forward. And so we just hopefully can provide that support in the background to help the districts make the best decision for their district.
Well, again, all good work that you're doing. Again, I want to thank Kevin Kimmel, the superintendent of the Mid-Ohio Educational Service Center.
Thank you.
And you're located over in Mansfield,
Yep.
Ontario there. It's down on 4th, correct?
Yep, right
Yeah.
across from Arlen Field.
That's about the best way to
Yeah,
describe
everybody
it.
knows where Arlen Field
Yes.
is at. So just off Trimble and 4th, we're just located right there. It's just a stone throw off 30, so it's easy to get to. We have a great big conference center that is used not just by our districts but throughout the community. There's lots of wedding receptions, meetings, breakfasts, trainings that go on, not just with educational school districts, but also businesses and community entities.
That have I've been at other venues at the facility, so I know what you're talking about. It's not always educational
Right.
focus, but you've got the spacing for it. And again, I would also say if you go to moesc.net, I believe,
Yep.
is your web page,
Yep.
and you have all the services and various other things for our listeners out there and those viewing us on the podcast as well. Yeah, check it out. It's very interesting. I appreciate you coming to do the podcast. We try to get out the word for people to understand what you're doing. Thank you so much.
Well, appreciate you having us on, and best of luck as the new year kicks off.
The same to you as well.